Nico Iamaleava finally had his chance to speak, and he said it's all about family. Here's why it's a good thing for UCLA.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of the Locked On UCLA podcast. I'm your host, Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer. Thanks for making this show your first listen each and every day. It's free, wherever it's your podcast, and it's available on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, download. Thanks for your support. Your team every day. Welcome back, everydayers. It's Big Ten Media Days, and this time UCLA and company got to converge over in Las Vegas this year. The biggest thing for UCLA was that DeShawn Foster had a rebound performance. It brought some big-time veteran leaders, and the most anticipated guest, I would think, in any media day in all of college football is Nico. And Nico came up to the podium. He had his opportunity to speak. He hasn't exactly been an outspoken person, and from what I've gathered so far, it's not necessarily that's his motto. But what he came in was the same refrain. He got asked by many outlets, many individual interviews, many exclusive type one-on-ones with Nico. Here's what it's going to be, and we're going to give it to you right now. Nico said it's all about family. The fascinating thing was when he was sitting in front of everybody at the Big Ten Media Days was when he came out and said, hey, the false reports about the financial stuff. This is one of the quotes that he said, but it's generally the same thing that Nico is able to say over and over. Nico, quote, it's all about family. A lot of things about financial stuff, it wasn't that. That's kind of the refrain he has. That wasn't the focus. The financial stuff, the falsity of it. You could go look at videos and see Kirk Herbstreit, who's one of the biggest, loudest media types in all of college football, and talking about how it was his father going to Tennessee's head coach and back in December. And that's when they're wrapping things up, going to a college football playoff. And it's like, hey, talking about what this? Is it schematic? Is it reasons for success? Is it financial? Who knows? But you can hear all the different angles. Well, Nico came out and shared his side. And it's all about family. He talked about it being the biggest and hardest decision he had to make. And trying to empathize and tell it to the Tennessee fan base. Bring it to UCLA and say, hey, I'm here to face the noise. And that's the biggest thing. Tennessee, they didn't have Nico go to SEC Media Days when he was their quarterback. This year, UCLA said, we're going to make a stand. Nico probably realizing the same thing. I'm not sure what went behind the scenes as to what happened, but it's not like he ducked and didn't want the questions. He waited for his time to speak and came in and talked about what it was and was basically answering every question. That's huge for UCLA. Now, maybe you're sitting there and you're still debating as to what it might be. What's the importance? But the fact that he showed up, the fact that he's there representing UCLA with the other two leaders, right? Garrett DeGiorgio, John Vaughns, who are the other two players that might be the forgotten members of the represented UCLA player panel, if you will. They all came in matching suits. You know, Garrett DeGiorgio talked about, hey, we're trying to make it as a team. Obviously, everybody's there going to ask questions to Nico, but they came there as a represented unit. It's a culture. It's a family. That resonates and fits well with what DeShawn Foster is putting out there as far as his messaging, his recruiting as a head coach. You see all these guys who in the last few years have been NFL draftees from the state of California. Well, that's Nico fitting into that mold. What is DeShawn Foster trying to do? Bring talented kids back to California and, in high school recruiting, keep them in California. One, you bring Nico back. You get one of the talented guys coming in. DeShawn Foster wanted the noise. You get that with Nico coming in. And he sat there and said, hey, let's make this happen. For all it's worth, you have to applaud the kid coming out, answering basically all the questions, and said, let's rock and roll. Now you're going to go see all the Tennessee fans, bring the hate. You're probably going to see in this comments. But UCLA got their QB1. And I'm still a little frustrated with how it played out because you still think as much as you can enjoy what Nico's character could be, you still have to look at UCLA's side of things and be like, it's okay because they left Joey Aguilar out high and dry. And unfortunately, in this day and age of college football, as much as we're going to pump the academics part of it, as UCLA is going to pump that, as DeShawn Foster is going to pump that, it's still as important to realize it's turned into a business, right? The NIL, as much as you might look at the executive order news, we're talking about getting ready to pay to play, even though there's revenue sharing, direct payment to players, what UCLA still has to realize is they sent Joey Aguilar out. You can compete for the job, but we're bringing in Nico, and that means he's QB1. So the Bruins made some noise, ruffled some feathers, and proved they're here to stay. DeShawn Foster, we're not necessarily focusing on him right now in this segment, but he did say we want to earn respect, not demand it. Well, he's commanding attention. Nico is going to command a lot of attention from just how everything played out in April, turning into the spring portal as to what was potentially one of the most coveted prospects at that stage of spring transfer portal recruiting, even though he almost had he was like super coveted, but also not because of how it played out and because he couldn't transfer within the SEC at that point. The other thing that's interesting for Nico, from what I've read, what I've seen, and what he said, he is a redshirt sophomore, which means he is NFL draft eligible after this season. Still has 3 years, including this year of eligibility, but you'd really think that if he performs really well, he's working under a new offensive coordinator with Tino Sunseri. If those guys work very well, and one of the quotes I saw from Nico, he's been challenged more than ever by this staff, specifically UCLA staff. He wants to get to the NFL draft. He wants to have the type of year that he's going to get out and go play in the NFL, all right? Because as much as he can play well, he can put all this behind him, and nobody's going to remember it, all right? With how he's composed himself, with him coming back home, he can ride that momentum. If he puts together a strong campaign, his decision will be stay, go somewhere else to play, or go to the NFL draft. And when it's all said and done, he wants to be in the NFL draft. He's one of the most coveted prospects coming out of high school. He's a Long Beach kid. He should be playing in SoCal, and UCLA fits the mold. All right. You got his younger brother, who is officially on the 2025 roster. You got Iamaleava, who has got a lot of options. It's the big thing for UCLA. Can they protect him? Well, the Bruins have overhauled everything offensively, from the offensive line coaches to just about every important staffer you need on offense, including the offensive coordinator. You bring in Nico, and he wants to get out. It's not like a slight to UCLA. It's, hey, I want to play so well that my name has to be called. That's not necessarily his words. That's me speaking that out there. But clearly, he wants to ball out. And that's UCLA's goal this year. If you didn't feel the confidence from DeShawn Foster with his opening statements at Big Ten Media Days, if you don't feel just the quiet, subtle confidence coming from Nico, just from showing up, speaking, answering questions, that takes a lot as a young man who's going to get a lot of hate on social media, deserved or not, going after his family. But he talks about, I want to be back home with family. I want to be close to Southern California, with his family. He gets to play in the Rose Bowl, and it's a glorious opportunity for him, especially for UCLA. And if family's the most important, that means he can be dedicated. He'll fit into the DeShawn Foster culture and fit right literally at home in Westwood, in Pasadena, in Southern California, where UCLA is trying to make a name for itself in football, right? And UCLA has a lot of potential to grow in the Big Ten, to grow as a football program here in Southern California, whether a Big Ten conference member or not. This is a chance with Nico at the helm as QB1 to make it happen. And the Bruins, they got their guy, the arm talent. They got the intangibles from the physical side. Can Tino guide Nico and unlock something we did not see over in Tennessee? Potentially. But you don't have to overcomplicate things. We saw that with the West Coast offense and the scheme from Eric Bieniemy. You don't need to make it more complicated. You can still see Nico succeed, have UCLA grow as a program, whether he's here for 1, 2, or 3 years. But the goal, dominate, play so well that when he's done with this year, UCLA will have a line of suitors with him going to the NFL draft in the transfer portal, or have guys ready to step up with him having showcased what it's like to be a true QB1. That's the hope, that they are the hot program in late November, heading into December and January. And then when these transfer portal windows come in, UCLA can compete with whatever the NIL collectives are supposed to be, or in the rev share, or with what UCLA can offer a student athlete, as they still are technically, in Westwood, playing in the Rose Bowl, the most iconic stadium in all of college football. And you can play there 6 to 7 times a year. Nico's the right man to lead this team. And I'm still, yes, obviously there are still reports out there about how it is, how it came to be with the deal to UCLA, why they left. Those are still causes for concern when it comes to looking forward after the year. But right now, when it comes to this fit, this team, Nico is continuing to answer the bell correctly, calmly, coolly, and as a QB1 should, face the noise head on. You talk about his toughness. He admitted to having his helmet cracked twice during the Ohio State game. That's how much they dominated. The defending national champs dominated Tennessee in that playoff game in the first round. And he still came up and played that game and responded to the noise. And he's doing the same thing with the doubters and the haters as well. All right. So that's a man you want helping represent your team this year with a lot of help around him. It's not supposed to be a one-man effort. And that's what DeShawn Foster's putting out there. And that's what Nico's putting out there. It's a family decision to move, but UCLA is putting forth a family-like culture in Southern California. And that's what can make Nico fit right at home and hopefully in what can be expected thrive in 2025. Like it or hate it, UCLA's got their QB1. We'll see what the Tennessee fans hate in the mentions, and if you agree with me, UCLA fans, or not. Obviously, yes, there is some concern with how it all played out, but the Bruins, they're swinging for the fences. DeShawn Foster wants the haters. He wants the noise, and they're bringing in Nico, and there better be some energy against Utah August 30th and some buzz, hopefully by the time October 4th comes around when Penn State has headed into town. In the next episodes, we're going to talk DeShawn Foster's return in response to the podium, UCLA baseball getting some good recruiting news, and softball adding in the transfer portal. All that and more. But first, we're going to tell you more about our friends at FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing. Whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game more exciting. And you already follow the action. Well, why not make it a little more thrilling with FanDuel? You can always get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. Come on. For FanDuel, you can track your favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with using new daily promotions and fun ways to bet. Fast and easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes regular season games feel like must-watch events. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5, get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. That's going to do it for us here at Locked On UCLA. It's all about family with Nico and company. And the Bruins are getting the job done in the portal. DeShawn Foster's excited. Nico should get the Bruins fans excited. It's going to be an interesting year with how it all played out. I am been in a whirlwind of emotions. But you got to commend the kid. Came up, showed up, and answered the questions. And hopefully that's going to be the same with him in a UCLA uniform, wearing number 9, leading the charge for the Bruins out of that tunnel in the Rose Bowl on August 30th against the Utes, and hopefully all season long. That's going to do it for us here. We'll talk more Big Ten Media Days in next episode of Locked On UCLA. Like, comment, subscribe, download. Thanks for your support. Hands up, Bruins fans. 8 clap time, baby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA fight by fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Zach signing off. Go Bruins.